It's a rainy day, but it's a beautiful day because today we are reviewing the BMW i4 xDrive40. Is it worth the watt? Let's find out.
I know I always say that every car is my favorite car. Every time I get a new car, I feel like I always find my new favorite car. But this is by far the best drive.
I
Out of
agree.
every single electric car I've driven so far. This is my favorite.
Which is not a lot of electric cars, in fairness. But yes, in terms of the drive, hands down, it feels awesome. Like, you have that sporty feel that BMW provides. This reminds me of my 2009 BMW in terms of the way it feels, but obviously newer and better. The screens are curved, they face the driver, so you have the driver first approach, which BMW is known for. It's smooth, it doesn't feel like you're going over bumps when you're going over bumps, which is surprising considering the bigger tires on this car, 19-inch tires. But there's one problem.
What's the problem?
You tell me. The range.
The range. So we were under the impression that we were going to get almost 500 kilometers on a full charge, right?
Right.
But we have 19-inch wheels, so that does bring the mileage or the kilometers down a bit.
But not this low.
But not this low. So this morning when we checked on a full charge, we got about 350 kilometers.
352 kilometers.
That was very surprising.
And that was on
right?
Eco mode, Eco Pro mode.
Right.
And then even right now, like, we're down to 95%. There's 323 kilometers on the car, which is kind of low for an 81 kilowatt hour battery.
But we live in Canada. We're in Ontario. It is cold out.
Is cold out? Is this like New English? But look, it's 2.5 degrees Celsius outside. It's not that cold. True. It's raining. It's humid right now, so it's not cold, which is surprising. So I don't know what's going on here with the range, but it's a little on the lower side considering that they're advertising this car to have over 400 kilometers in terms of distance. But there's a lot of other great things going for this car. You love the displays. Like,
I have never seen a clearer, crispier display.
Yeah,
this is really clear, and I also love the heads-up display. I usually complain about the heads-up display. It kind of is distracting, but this is the coolest heads-up display I've ever seen.
And you get to customize it.
It has like the coolest graphics. It looks 3D. It looks like it's like in front of you.
It's not as distracting.
It's not as distracting. It's actually really fun to look at when you're driving.
And one thing I noticed about this BMW infotainment system is that it's very customizable. Like, there's 4 different options you can choose from for the heads-up display. Like, right now I have it on the standard one, and it's very basic, but you can get really creative with it. The only thing I wish is if it would show your blind spots. Right? Like, you have to look at the mirrors to see your blind spots or your warnings.
It doesn't show on the heads-up display.
It doesn't show on the heads-up display like the Hyundai cars do.
Right.
But it's a fast car, 0 to 60 in what?
5 seconds.
4.9
seconds.
4.9 seconds. So, you know, it's a little slower than a Model 3 dual motor, but still really fast.
396 horsepower.
440 torque.
Yeah.
So you're getting places, okay?
Yep.
And there's a lot of noises in this car. Like, there's noises for everything. You want to hear the car drive? There's a noise for that.
You don't like that. You don't like the fact that when you push on the gas really hard, it gives you that, like, it's engine noise.
It's tacky because it's not.
It's really cool.
It's not an engine in here. Why put that noise in here? No one can hear it but you, which is the weird part, right? Like, there's no engine. It's a motor and batteries, right?
It just makes it gives you a more sporty feel, right? That's the whole point of it.
I don't need a sporty feel. Electric cars are stealthy.
You turned it off, I noticed.
I did turn it off.
And I wanted it on.
Well, you know what? We're gonna have to thumb wrestle for it. Apple CarPlay, wireless. Android Auto, wireless. It works perfectly. I didn't have any issues connecting my phone. It picked it up right away. On top of all that, you just have a very well-built infotainment system. I know I keep going back to this, but I love the customization of it. You can really pretty much do everything you want. At nighttime, the display and the graphics look really, really cool. But we got to talk about this interior because there's some things going on here that I like and I obviously don't like. First, I don't like this wireless charger because it
hasn't. We both can't figure out how to charge our phone.
It won't work. Like, you have an iPhone 14
Is it like,
Pro.
is there maybe the ability to turn it on?
I have no idea, but I'm using like a simple Apple woven case on an iPhone 15 Pro Max. Doesn't work. She's using an iPhone 14 Pro. Doesn't work. If you have like a Galaxy S23 Ultra, you might have a hard time fitting it in here just because the space might be too small. You might have to leave your case off. We're going to try again right now, but with the case off to see if it actually charges. So she has the phone in there right now, and yeah, no, it's not charging at all. Now there's 2 cup holders that are directly in front of the wireless charger. They're very strong, they're very tight for the bottle that you place it in, but it's a little too close to the front panel, and sometimes
but
it hits the control.
It does prevent it from shaking, so it keeps it really firm. It's in there, like it doesn't move.
For sure, but like
when you're driving, you don't hear the rattling noises, which is great.
But I feel like taking it in and out, you're eventually gonna like scratch the front part here,
Possibly.
right? It's possible.
So can we talk about price point and what is included in this particular model?
Okay, so how much does this one go for?
So the starting price for this car is $69,500, I believe.
Okay.
Almost $70,000.
Right.
But this car has a premium enhanced package edition, which is another $9,200 Canadian. It has the M Sports Pro package edition.
So that just gets you like cosmetics, right?
Yes.
Of the M series.
So the M Sports Pro package has the bigger wheels.
Bigger wheels and some M labeling and some accent changes.
Heated leather steering wheel, aerodynamics package edition as well.
Yeah.
And it also has the advanced driver assistance package, which is another $2,000.
So what's the total?
Oh, and Sunset Orange is an additional $900.
Okay.
Aluminum mesh trim and black exterior contents. So the total for this particular model is $85,000.
Okay, so that's a lot, you know, like when you take things all into consideration. And I wonder how much more the M series is, because that will give you the faster performance, but obviously with less range. Like the best way to describe this car is it's like the 3 Series, right? Like have you ever driven a 3 Series gas BMW car? That's exactly what this car reminds me of. And it's taken the best of both worlds of having your typical 3 Series sedan and combining it with the coupe back, the lift back, so that you have that hatchback-like experience. Button controls are great. You have different options to choose from. Like there's a sport mode, and it is fast.
Matt.
And
Holy
she loves it when I do that. And you get that sound to go with it. But if you want to drive a little bit more normal, there's a comfort mode. And of course, if you want to save yourself get the best efficiency, you can put it into Eco Pro. If you're a fan of auto hold, which means it'll automatically stay stopped when your foot's off the gas at a light, you can do that. And of course you can check out the camera.
I love that you don't have a gear switch here either, that you have just this switch to
move back and forth between your gears.
To switch your gear, yeah.
Yeah, and you have your control knob over here if you don't want to touch the screen, but the good thing is the screen is not too far away from you, so you can easily just use the touch controls on the screen if you want to navigate, but for whatever reason, if you don't,
and it's very responsive.
Exactly.
The touch screen is extremely responsive.
Very responsive. Storage. You have the middle console.
Very, very small.
Very small, but you know, it's wide enough, and you have one USB Type-C port, plus a little flashlight so you can see. You have a USB-A port right where the cup holder is, and of course your cigarette lighter if you still smoke. You have a glove compartment. How's the space inside of it?
It's
tiny.
Not
it looks a little tiny.
But I mean, what do you expect?
You have very little space on the left side of your door to place things. Of course, you have the option to, you know, manipulate all the windows and 2 controls to set different positions for 2 different people, which is kind of handy.
I love the ambient lighting.
Oh, I love the ambient lighting in this car too.
It's so classy and so simple.
Yeah, they don't overdo it like Mercedes.
No, it's not overdone.
Like Mercedes, you go into their car, you're literally having a seizure. Like it's ridiculous. There's RGB everywhere. It was like designed for a 14-year-old who loves anime. Like that's what it looks like in the Mercedes. This is like you have a simple,
very classy
line going around. It's very nice to look at. You have nice, comfortable leather seating. They're wide enough for a big guy like me. And then on front of it, you can extend the seat forward or backward in case you want more cushion for your thighs.
Yeah. So Matt, what do you think of the speakers?
They sound great. Harman Kardon, right?
Yeah, Harman Kardon.
There's a lot of them in the car. They get very loud. They're bassy. They sound fantastic.
You really feel the bass when you're playing the music really loud.
Yeah, there's a few equalization settings you can fine tune depending on how you want to play your music, but overall, very impressive sound system. Sunroof. We got one. It's not a moonroof.
We do have one.
So you have the option to open it up, put your hands out in the air, like wave them like you just don't care, but it's not a full moonroof for the entire car. There's no places for your sunglasses on the top, so you either have to use the middle console or throw them somewhere else, but that's okay, you know, like this is a tinier car. This is not a family sedan.
So Matt, we have a Tesla 3 model, and...
Tesla Model 3.
Okay, so Matt,
yeah,
our Tesla Model 3 is 184 inches long.
Mm-hmm.
This car is 4 extra inches. Mm-hmm. But does it feel like it has 4 extra inches?
No, I mean,
It doesn't feel as spacious as
that's the weird
Tesla.
thing, because my Model 3 is even not as wide. This is like 4 millimeters wider than my car, but
Okay.
it just feels a little bit smaller overall. Even like,
But it also does feel a little sportier as well.
oh, 100%
right?
sportier.
It's much sportier.
The drive on this is much better than my Tesla. It puts my
Right.
Tesla to shame in terms of how it drives.
It feels much more aerodynamic when you're driving
Absolutely. Like even when you slow down and stop, like cars, like badly designed cars will kind of nosedive. This BMW kind of like the whole car shifts together. Like I can't explain it. Like it's a very comfortable stop. So this is what the front of the car looks like. I think it looks absolutely awesome. It looks like it's ready to race. It's right in your face. You have the dual kidney grills on the front, which are made out of carbon fiber. They're not actual grills that you get on the gas version, but it's to kind of play along with that theme. You have the I logo over here to represent that this is an electric car. And then you have the BMW logo directly in the middle. Now, unfortunately, this is what the front looks like in terms of the frunk, because there isn't a frunk. It's just a big plastic piece of sheathing to kind of protect the innards of the car, but there's no space to put your stuff. But look, you have a lot of the M series accents on this car because this is using the M package. It's not using the M sort of performance, but you have the package for the extra cost. You have these little things that come out of the side over here, which gives it a very sporty but mean look. You have the 19-inch tires with these beautiful looking rims. They're not as like futuristic looking as some EVs are going with today, but they look more standard, which I kind of like. And that's the thing about this car, you know, like it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb saying, hey, look, I drive an EV. No, this looks like a typical BMW 3 Series, and that's what I absolutely love about it.
Okay, so I'm 5'5". I find that there's plenty of space back here for my legs. You, on the other hand, Matt, would not, since you're almost 6 feet
like
tall.
this is my seat, and if I was to sit back here for more than an hour, it'd be uncomfortable, but it's okay for 20-minute drives.
But speaking of comfort, these seats are amazing. Very, very comfortable. I have headspace.
I don't.
But you definitely wouldn't. I think
No,
you'd be
it's a
hitting
little short for
your
me.
head on the ceiling here.
Yeah.
So
And I'm 5'11".
Right. So the headspace is not great. You have your speakers here, your Harman Kardon speakers, and you have some storage on the side. You have, this is pretty cool, you have your cup holders here, but you also have this cover on the cup holders. So if you're putting your arm in here, your elbow's not gonna fall into the cup holders, which is nice. Most cars don't have that, right? Access to the back. You actually do have access to the back.
You can stick your skis through there.
Right?
It's unfortunate they had to put a little middle thing for your feet go, because usually that's where the transmission goes, but this is an electric car.
A foot thing, a hump?
Yeah, the hump shouldn't be there in an electric car.
The hump should not be there, so the
Which is
person
kinda
sitting in the middle
disappointing.
has no leg
Yeah.
space.
How about Type-C ports? What are we
So
talking?
we have two ports right here.
Type-C, yeah.
Yep.
Temperature
You have
controls for the
temperature
backseat
controls.
drivers.
Yep, you have
Can
that as
Adjust
well.
the fans. Now the back of the car also looks really awesome because you have this like 3D effect with the bumper playing on the trunk. Of course, this being a coupe, there's no, windshield wiper on the back to get rid of the rain. It just kind of swoops down. i4 badging on the left-hand side. And this is the xDrive40, not the eDrive. The eDrive is only rear wheel motor. This has a motor on the front and the back to make it a four-wheel drive car. And that's the big difference this year with the 2024 model. A lot of Canadians are going to be happy about that because this is obviously going to perform much better in the snow. Now to get into the back of the trunk, you can obviously use your key, or you can swipe your foot underneath the trunk and it will open up. The trunk space is obviously a lift back, so you don't have to like shove things in, but it's big enough to fit a hockey bag comfortably. It's not the biggest trunk space I've seen in the world, but there's more than enough space to fit things that you'd carry with yourself every single day. There's a little bit of space on the bottom over here, and they actually have a Harman Kardon speaker, I think, on the back over here. Is this an actual subwoofer? I think this is a subwoofer. Yeah, there's an actual subwoofer on the back of the trunk, which is absolutely crazy to see. Most other cars don't have that. There's also little spaces on the side to store your stuff if you need some extra space to utilize. Now, to put the seats down, unfortunately, there's no buttons to put the back seats back. You have to go to the side of the car to do that instead, which is kind of annoying. I was hoping like a car like this would have an electric option to do that, but looks like you have to do it manually. So the big question, is the BMW i4 xDrive40 worth the watt? Absolutely. This is not just an electric car. It takes all the best things about the gas version and puts it into an electric vehicle. It feels sporty. It feels comfortable to drive. There's like very little road noise. There's very little wind noise. It feels fast. It feels smooth. The only thing that's kind of weird is the range. You know, the advertised range seems to be a lot more compared to what I got. So keep that in mind if you're picking one of these things up. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.